It is your favorite kind of punch, MrFalconpunch 996, the underrated king, the recommendation master, and of course YouTube's #1 Dorohedoro fan man, back to bring you guys another manly video. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys a manly review for a manga series known as Hentai Kamen. Time to review the manga of my newest favorite superhero, as well as probably one of the most outrageous manly characters to ever exist, Ultimate Hentai Kamen. Now, Hentai Kamen is a manga by Ando Keishu, who has pretty much only worked on Hentai Kamen. However, unfortunately, I can't find its sequels anywhere, which is why I'm only going to be talking about the original manga, which debuted in 1992 on Weekly Shonen Jump. Yes, Hentai Kamen is a Weekly Shonen Jump character. Where the fuck was he in J-Stars? Since I don't know about you guys, but I would have loved beating the shit out of Sasuke as Hentai Kamen. It also got a live action movie in 2013, which I haven't seen yet, but it looks pretty amazing. And I might do a video on it whenever I get around to watching it. Plus, there's a sequel right around the corner as well. But let's move on to the actual plot of the manga. Hentai Kamen easily has one of the most bizarre origin stories for a superhero ever. Our soon-to-be hero, Shikijo Kyosuke, is a young martial artist who inherited his heart of justice from his father, who looks very similar to Clint Eastwood. Manly! And a slight kink for BDSM thanks to his mother, a florist who is also a part-time dominatrix. One day his crush Aiko is held in a hostage situation. With his manly passion for justice burning to save his love, he decides to disguise himself as one of the criminals holding the hostages. However, instead of putting on a ski mask, he discovers he accidentally put on a pair of panties on his head. Initially embarrassed, he tries taking them off his head. However, a burst of pure ecstasy within Kyosuke unlocks the manly badass hidden within, being the abnormal superhero, Hentai Kamen. Gaining superhuman strength, speed, bondage skills, as well as the ability to pop out of fucking nowhere depending on the panties he's wearing, Hentai Kamen fights evil by smashing in the face with his manly balls of steel. Or as he likes to refer to them, Mr. Inari. Perverted manliness. However, Kyosuke must struggle between his perverted heroics, as well as his life as a member of his school's martial arts club, and his struggles in love with his crush Aiko, which is later complicated by another girl interested in Kyosuke, the badass foreign exchange student, Shunka, a master of the outrageous martial arts, the Lusting Fist, which basically has its user sex appeal distracted its opponents before going in for the fatal blow. Now, Hentai Kamen is just a weird series. However, it's probably one of the most outrageous and hilarious series I've read in a while. I mean, where else will you see an almost naked guy with panties on his head fight crime and occasionally stop domestic violence with various and creative ways to use the perverted power of justice? As I said in my recommendation for this manga, this series is just so outrageously stupid it actually becomes pretty clever. For the most part, a lot of the scenarios for the jokes become very similar. However, it's the outrageous way they're pulled off each time that keeps them funny as the last. However, even beyond the perverted heroics, there still is a lot of good comedy when Hentai Kamen isn't center stage. Since while this is mainly a superhero comedy series, there's also a very good dose of romantic comedy elements within the series. As Kyosuke tries to win the heart of Aiko, as well as deal with Shunka, who sees Kyosuke as a future husband, and even starts living with him later on in the series, which of course leads to a lot of crazy hijinks. Despite the series being Hentai Kamen, there really isn't a whole lot of perversion in it. Sure, every chapter practically ends with someone getting a serving of balls to the face, and there are some dirty jokes here and there, but for the most part, it's really nothing too graphic. Even Shunka's lusting fist techniques are nothing too perverted when compared to what other series could have done with such a perverted concept. The characters in the series, while not the greatest, do work for the series, as they are pretty simple. Kyosuke, when not in Hentai Kamen mode, is pretty much your typical good guy with a good heart. Aiko is pretty much your standard cute girl love interest, and Shunka is pretty much a hyperactive foreign exchange student, though her parents are pretty badass as they're able to build a cafe using only their martial arts. Manly. However, despite the simple characters, they all work very well, much like the art, which definitely does have a heavy 90s vibe to it, though it does seem to improve drastically whenever Hentai Kamen is around. Now, as much as I've had a blast reading the series, I do feel like it had a load of unused potential, especially when it came to its story. Now, the story obviously wasn't something to take seriously from the beginning, however, I am disappointed that it never really fully evolved into a proper superhero series. What I mean by this is having Kyosuke master his newfound perverted abilities, have a set of reoccurring villains, or maybe even have the police after Hentai Kamen, since, let's be honest here, he doesn't exactly set the best examples for kids. However, while the series may always seem like it's going to go in the proper superhero direction, it never fully goes all the way. In the beginning of the series, Kyosuke experiments with his perverted powers, as he later finds out, depending on the panties he puts on, he could gain different abilities, and he normally willingly transformed into Hentai Kamen whenever he came across evil. However, as time went on, for whatever reason, it seemed like more and more that Kyosuke didn't transform into Hentai Kamen to stop evil because he wanted to, but more like the circumstances just played out that way. As later on, for the most part, Kyosuke would just randomly get panties stuck on his head, which somehow was just magically right on time, as there was always a criminal right around the corner. Sure, there are some times where he changes into Hentai Kamen out of his own will, however for the most part they turn out to be accidents. And to make matters worse, it seems like he has no recollection of anything he does as Hentai Kamen. Surprisingly though, during the last couple of chapters, the series does go in the direction I sort of wanted it to be. After a 7-year time skip where Kyosuke is a policeman very much like his father. Though at this point, it's really too late to fully develop what I wanted from the series. But hey, we get to see Kyosuke's son as Hentai Kamen Jr. Double the perverted manliness! And perverted laughs. Honestly, Hentai Kamen Son sounds like an amazing series on its own. However, despite my feelings about the underutilized potential, this is still a very funny series with a super outrageous superhero that just has to be seen, or in this case, read, to believe. Which is why I say Hentai Kamen is a very good series. Now it's time to wrap up this video. As always, I am MrFalconpunch 996. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page. If you haven't done any of that yet, you will be Falcon Punch in the face, so you better do it, and I'll see you guys next time.